supposed to go to the beginning.
The first transatlantic telegraph cable was made in 340,500 miles of copper and iron wire, designed to stretch 2,876.95 miles along the ocean floor. Once the cable was in place, you could use electrical impulses and signal code to send any message you wanted to the other side of the world. Human beings are hardwired with the impulse to share our ideas and the desire to know we've been heard. It's all part of our need for community. That's why we're constantly sending out signals and signs. And when we look for them from other people. We're always waiting for messages. Hoping for connection.
I don't know how much you could hear that. Do you hear it? Do you know what that's from? It's, there was a TV show called Touch about this savant kid, whatever, the opening. What he's talking about, of course, is connection. That we're hardwired to connect. And the quasi-metaphor is the wiring that went underneath the Atlantic in order to connect with others, that we're hardwired to communicate and hear. We're looking for messages and all that. So I like the little blip on that. Speaking of which, I guess I'll put this on there. Nathan Fletcher is a big wave fanatic. He and his buddy went off to, I think it's Chile, and surfed a new humongous wave. And it's a real dangerous spot. You can't get to it other than by boat, but the boat people didn't want to take him there because it was too dangerous, but they eventually got somebody out there. Humongous waves. And he falls off. And he's being thrashed. And his buddy can't really get to him. And now he's being thrashed up towards the cliffs. There's these big cliffs, and there's kind of this like turbulent juncture where he's being spun around. And he's holding his breath, and he has to go through what's called a two-wave hold down. First wave comes, and he's spinning, and he's spinning. Second wave comes. He says he did the light flashing in front of him thing. He started to see the light. He's like, oh shit, man, you see the light. This is, he's smiling, I know this sounds ridiculous. It's not a joke, by the way. It's not like there's gonna be a punchline here. Actually, this is, sorry if I'm setting it up, you're already pre-laughing, so you're predicting it's gonna be something funny, so you're already laughing. I mean, the good news, he doesn't die, I'll tell you that, okay? The point, that was build-up. What keeps him alive? I told you way back when I first introduced the idea of connection about Laird Hamilton and how he thinks about it. What Nathan said was, holy shit, I can't die, because there had been a previous drowning of one of the big wave riders a couple months ago. I can't have my friends go through this kind of grief again. I cannot die. I will not die. And he holds his breath, and he pops up. But what amazes me, again, he's not thinking about him, what he's thinking about is his friends, the people we are connected to. It just astounds me. When you're past the life going through thing, flashback of all your life, when you're past the white light thing, what is he thinking about? I can't do this to my buddies. Bravo. Bravo. Okay. So, oh, there was another one. Let me see this other one I wanted to tell you. Oh, yeah. On the flip side, did you know that having very few friends and not feeling connected to them has the equivalent mortality rate as smoking 15 cigarettes a day? Isn't that amazing? Connection. Okay. You guys know about Oculus Rift. You know about Oculus Rift? You are going to know about Oculus Rift. You know about Oculus Rift. I know it's this weird little thing. It's not innocuous. It's Oculus Rift. So it got bought by Facebook for $2 billion. It's a little startup company. And what it is, and you're going to be seeing this. You think this is powerful. You think this is powerful. The next 5 years, maybe some of you here, but certainly little pumpkins, it's a 3D video system, which you wear. But it's perfect. And you do games, you do why Facebook bars, because then you can meet your buddies and buddies in this 3D virtual world. And it is like this. So when you turn this way, you see that. When you turn that way, you see that. So you're in this room someplace. So now we're not, I love your look. So now we're not going to be just sitting around doing this. Hi, how you doing? Good. Talk about the absent present. We're going to be with these goggles around us. Hi, hello. Wait a minute. In fact, why don't you put on yours and I'll meet you in the room. Oh, okay. Reality is an endangered species. Reality is an endangered species. It's unbelievable to me. On the one hand, on the other hand, and I know we can't fight it's going to be, but my God, the repercussions. The repercussions of that is astounding. So I thought about, there are those, I mean, a lot of you, and I understand, would rather watch sports on TV than go and actually watch in vivo. It was a little disconcerting to me when I was in Hawaii, and there were those who'd rather watch the Pipeline Masters on the computer than actually come down and see it. I mean, I get it, you could do kind of both. I get the instant replay. Do you know that there's this famous cave with cave paintings and all that? Well, they're concerned about, and understandably, when all these tourists, when people come and see it, we breathe carbon monoxide, and it can erode the thing. So what they're doing now is you can't go into the cave, but you can watch a camera that's on that, and so you can see it in video, and it's even better because you can get close-ups and far aways, and you can control. But you don't get to go in the cave and smell it and feel it, and and reality is an endangered species. Please.
One of my favorite comedians, Louis C.K., he has this one skit where he talks about how you are, like, when you're at like your kid's like dance recital or something. Right. You're like so busy recording it and watching it on the screen that you're like missing the actual recital. Yes. And like it's a really interesting skit that he
Correct.
Has.
No, I do think about that. I am very aware that when I take a video, drawn or whatever, I am absent present. I'm not really watching this, I'm really this. And there's the illusion that we're going to watch these videos. And the reality is we don't. Well, we watch it once. And for me, I think I told you I did a video for Drawn before I even met Rory. I think I told you that. And did I tell you that? Very quickly, I did a video for Drawn before I even met Rory. So I thought it'd be cool that he would know his dad. I'd love to see a video of my mom and dad before they even met. I think this is cool. Put on the camera, I said, hi there, I'm your future dad. And I guess you're watching this, I'm your present dad, but so let me tell you about my life. And I showed him the dogs and the surfboard, and I would keep a little chronicle. So when I met Rory, I said, I met somebody, I think it's going to be your mother, I will check in with you. I'm asking her to marry me. The day I asked her to marry me, I turned on that, camera and I said, I'm going to ask your mother to marry me today. I guess she said yes, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. Now, I'm not stupid. I named no names, just in case it was the wrong person. Yeah, I know. It's like the tattoo thing. Mary. No, Margaret. No, Heather. No, I didn't have to do that. It's Photoshop. It actually was Rory. As a matter of fact, it actually was Rory. So that was cool. But I did purposely not name names the whole time. It was Rory, though. The funny thing is, he's not nostalgic like I am. He knows about this tape. He hasn't ever watched it. I don't know. Maybe his grandchildren will watch it. I don't know. But anyway, so I know about the document, but I am very aware that it takes you away from the moment. For me, with that, it actually was a way of bridging to the future. It wasn't taking me away from moments. It was creating a connection with a future child and connecting him to my past, which would be his present. Anyway, so it really wasn't that. But it is a very tricky world we're moving into. And I realized an interesting thing. So a couple weeks ago, I'm in my yard. It's going to sound so hokey. A butterfly flutters by. And I look at it, and the sun hit its wings, And I was in awe. I was in awe. And I realized, I wrote this, awe is the sudden mesmerized immersion, the sudden mesmerized immersion in the magnificence of something of which we're not the causative agent. And yet, through embracing its beauty, we feel somehow connected. And I realized, you know, I make a big thing about being the causative agent, but I realized the awe, what I was so in awe of, this incredibly beautiful thing that we, humanity, had nothing to do with. And that I realized the visual, all this virtual world, we know we created that. As much as we can go, oh wow, incredible. But there's something magnificent about something we did not create. Again, when you want to believe God, not God, that's not the point. It's that, and yet in embracing that beauty, we feel connected. And it was just like, ah. So I hope you experience a whole bunch of awe. And for God's sakes, embrace reality at least once a day. And tell your grandchildren, embrace reality once a day. Okay, enough of my plea for reality. Somebody's got to stand up for reality out there. Especially when we get these. Oh my God. You just visit your friends this way.
Go to class like that?
Oh yeah, well there are already classes, you know, like on Second Life. Where they, well, and you well know, I mean, online courses. I mean, there's a lot, and education moves more and more towards that and away from this. Hi. Please.
There's a really great show called Black Mirror.
Okay.
It's about technology. It's kind of like Twilight Zone for technology. Usually the scenes are set in the near future.
Okay.
One of the things is, in the future, people have just a little microchip that can, everything you see is recorded.
Oh.
And you can zap it up onto, like if you're sharing, like, oh, like I saw this thing today, like you put it up on the screen, so everybody can kind of share like that. And the implications of that, and it's what you said kind of reminded me of that it's, it turns into, you know, obsessive people having arguments and, you know, recording like, no, you said this.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect for the couples fight. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to record it every time because usually I'm right and you're wrong.
But no, it's constantly recording.
Yeah, it's at all times, right, in any moment.
But
it's like
that are coming out that do that.
Yeah.
Now, like they.
Well, it's like constant Instagram. Instead of like one of those, it's just constant. Here's my life. Not a moment unrecorded. Interesting. Fair enough. Okay. Any postscripts to the little pumpkins? And it's fine if you didn't. I know it seems like an eternity ago. It's just a week ago we had little pumpkins up here. No? Okay. A postscript. That's good. All right. We're going to talk about psychodynamic approaches to play therapy. And we're going to watch a video of the same. So off we go. Now let me be very, very clear. As you well know, psychoanalytic thought, psychodynamic thought is talk about a religion. I mean, it is an ancient religion with a deep following. And it's like studying the Talmud or something. There, as you well know, I mean it. People study this for years and years, like anything else. And there's societies. We have a psychoanalytic association here in town, and they would be appalled at what I'm going to do now. I'm going to give you a little haiku. They would say it's barely the first word of a haiku. So at least we have some common vocabulary to use about psychoanalytic thought. By the way, I sent you an email. I sent you an email last night. Some of you got it. Maybe that's cool. If you didn't, it's okay. It was like at 11 something at night. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to send it to him. I'll get it at some point. You were actually up, huh? Somebody was up. Anyway, the rest you didn't, so look at your emails. Did you by any chance, and it's okay if you didn't, but if you didn't, do read the Alan Sugarman, who's a psychoanalyst here in town, article, a little 2-page article that came out of San Diego Psych Association. Beautiful article about contemporary psychoanalysis. Beautiful article. I'll quote from him today. So, okay, here we go. We're going to put it through the grid. You've all taken some psychoanalytic classes, yes? One somewhere? Yeah, sort of. It's amazing. When I first started teaching this class, and you weren't even born yet, little country codger. It's probably politically incorrect. Sorry, Arkansas. All of you, 91.3% of you would be, if I asked you what was your psycho-philosophy, psycho-religion, you'd say psychoanalytic, psychodynamic. First of all, there'd be 2 women in the class, if even. All the rest would be men, and they would all be psychoanalytic. So times have changed. What is the basic theory of the person? What is human nature about? Are we good? Are we bad? Are we tabula rasa? Who are we in this worldview? What makes us tick? Dust it off. I know some of this is undergraduate work for you folks. This is now let me also be clear. Psychoanalysis has grown immensely over it's been literally a century just about, hasn't it? Almost. Yeah. Freud was around 1914. Though he didn't come into prominence until later. But so we're going to kind of cover briefly the beginnings to the more modern. But what do you think? What do you think? Are we good? Are we bad? What are we? You betcha. That's an A, buddy. Come on. How hard is this? It's a drive. It's and don't forget, Siggy is an MD. He would, oh God, would he love the current. He would love Alan Shore. Do you know about Alan Shore? S-C-H-O-R-R. I think it's 2 R's. He writes tomes about attachment the first 2 years. He'll write, I think he's written 3 tomes on the first 2 years of life. All neuropsych and the psychoanalytic type. And they love it because to them, understand, it's exactly what Siggy was trying to do. Find a neuro basis for all of his theories, this drive theory and whatnot. So sex and aggression, it's a drive model. It's a mechanics, it's a pull and a push. It's, are we basically good? Are we basically bad? What are we? If we're really, you know, left to our own devices. Yeah, we're pretty bad, right? Lord of the Flies. That's who we are. That's where we end up being. We're sticking heads on posts. If I remember, isn't there a scene where something, I can't remember the book well, but we're pretty yicky, yick. This is not humanistic touchy-feely. This is, you know, underneath it all. We are about screwing and killing. And we have to sublimate these drives. Sublimate these drives. Okay? I mean, obviously we've got id, we've got ego, right? We've got superego. What part of the brain would the id be if you're doing neuropsych? Yeah, and the limbic. I mean, this is limbic, right? It's a cauldron of seedy impulses. By the way, remember, and if any of my voice sounds, I don't know, slightly sarcastic or something, it's all also true. Remember I told you the first day we met that perhaps when we look at the human psyche, soul, whatever, is it's a prism with all these different facets? And all these theories, each theory kind of highlights one facet, one color. And you might like the blue of whichever theory is blue. This would probably be red. So the red of psychoanalysis, the blue of humanistic, whatever. It's also true. When Ryer said that his client climbed the mountain because it represented his mother's cold tit and he's trying to eat the cold, you know, that's probably also true somewhere in his associative network. So it's probably also true. So yeah, sure, the id is the limbic systems and all the way from orbital frontal to amygdala and whatnot. What would be the ego? Yeah, prefrontal cortex, I think. I mean, I haven't read this, I'm just assuming this makes sense, right? The executive functioning, rational thinking, decision making, all that stuff. Sounds like ego to me. And superego would be, in part, and again, I understand it's a symphony, and I'm just looking at the piccolos for a moment, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. And some other areas are specifically involved in social judgment. Again, that's what gets liquefied in alcohol. It dissolves in alcohol. And that's why you're dancing on the table in the restaurant. And that gets on YouTube, and everybody's like, oh my God, I guess my dorsolateral prefrontal cortex got kind of drowned out by the alcohol. So I guess that's kind of the superego. Again, way oversimplistic. So what causes pathology in this model? What's the problem? Doctor, what's the problem?
Not being able to use them dynamically.
Ego gets caught between it and superego, right? I mean, there's different kinds of things, but you get squished, bless you, twice. You guys are all uni sneezers. Please.
Not being able to control the drives. Id taking over.
Yeah, id kid, man. It's like, overwhelms the ego. And you're doing things you shouldn't be doing, Mr. Congressman. Or, again, a lot of the people you're going to see, it's the overly harsh superego. Guilt. The inner critic. What I call the perverse protector. You know, a great example of perverse protector, I realized, at the body level. My neck went out the other day. I was seeing a kid, and all of a sudden, click! I was like, kid, stay on my right, because I can't see you on the left. I have to go like, I mean, it's ridiculous. I just can't sound like this all the time. And I go left, I have to turn my whole body. The muscle groups are now grabbing tight, and they won't let go, because they want to protect me from pain. And whatever that little wincing pain, same when the back goes out. Well, now that's the problem. The problem no longer is whatever pain I'm trying to protect myself from. It's the method of protection. When your back goes out and you're like this, and you're walking around, sorry for the image, like full depends. You're 90 years old and full depends. Oh, God. It's because your back is going, I'm not going to let you feel that pain. That pain's excruciating, so I'm going to hang on. That's now the problem. You getting this? And so you go to the massage, the chiropractor, they do all that stuff. So the muscles finally go, okay, I guess you're okay. Okay, I can let go now. Thank you. Hello. I can see you on the left now. Well, it tweaked a little bit, but that's okay. Perverse protector. That's what the superego is. It's the inner critic. It's part of your inner, Department of Defense. I'm going to protect you. You just got to straighten up. You got to listen to me. Stop messing around. Shh. Thank you for the information. Go text me once a month or once a week. Oh, I was telling that. Go, critic, go back. Here was my transformation with my inner critic, by the way. So I'm in St. George Holmes, right? Jungian base. We'll talk a lot about when we get to Jung. We're very much about representing the internal on the external. So you have a dialogue. I bought a gavel, an actual gavel I have in my office to represent the critic. And I hung it from my ceiling. And I would have dialogues with the inner critic. Here was the transformative moment. I suddenly saw my critic one day out of the blue as a judge. Kind of a Disney-esque cartoon judge with the fur brow and the huge eyebrows and that kind of guy. Kind of etched features. Stark. Stark and dark. I then suddenly, in my imagery, see him get up. And he goes to the judge's chamber. I'll never forget this. He takes off his robe. He takes his teeth out of his mouth. And he's sitting there, this little scrawny little guy, with huge baggy boxer underwear with big red polka dots. I giggled. I was like, and ever since that, it like shifted my whole image of the inner critic. A lot of your clients will have brutal inner critics, and they'll beat themselves up about the smallest things, particularly if they're high SQ. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and all that stuff, and maybe you do that to yourself. It's that superego, out of control. Sometimes I'll say to them, you're acting as if you have drowned puppies and enjoyed it. You're acting as if you're beating up old ladies for their Social Security checks. Is that what you're doing? No. But your critic acts as if you're creating these heinous crimes. So Siggy's right in many ways. Superego just pounds away. Now, familiar with the word fixations? Right? We get fixated at certain developmental tasks, developmental stages. Remember that whole thing? I know this goes way back for you folks. But one of the smart things, and one of the first things that this theory did is create this whole idea of developmental phases. When we saw the Carl tape, I noted to you, wow, one of the reasons I show that grainy tape, never mind my Mancinian look and dark hair and all that, but he goes through those phases. Remember the oral phase? Yeah, he went to me pre-oral. The anal phase, the phallic phase, and these incredible phases. Way over here, footnote on Carl, by the way, I realized. Imagine if Carl was an adult. Because in many ways, when we discount the significance of play, if you think about what an adult comes to you and says, I have these memories of my home. And I was so alone in my home. And there was like nobody there. And there was nobody there for me at all. And then I realized other people had like families and stuff. So I kind of had some hope. And then this really neat lady adopted me. And then I started to have a home. And I remember we'd have these barbecues, and I felt finally connected in life. And I know what, so if you get it from an adult perspective, it's like, wow, that was really, if you had a session like that from an adult, you'd go, holy schnoly. This is what I got my PhD for. This is what I paid all those stuff to Alliant and all that, for this kind of moment with this kind of client. But we don't see it quite the same way. Obviously, you see his whole car. But if you really think of it, that's what he's saying. He was doing his whole history. From nobody, nothing, their family, and then I got this one, then I had the barbecue, and then I could eat, and the food is good, man, the food is, yeah, I can't get enough of that stuff. Let's go slip and slide. Let's go play. And Volcani, it's slip and slide. Do I have to really see it 8 times before you finally get it? Slip and slide. You work with kids, you should know about this. So you get fixated in these developmental stages. Right? So you hear things like oral personality. They drink, they eat, they talk a lot, they smoke. Oral. Anal, I mean, come on, anal retentive. I mean, that's part of the lexicon of the culture. Yeah, you're being so anal. And pathology is getting stuck in these developmental things. And you get stuck in them because, theoretically, either deprivation, like dear sweet Carl, obviously tremendous deprivation, or, theoretically, over-gratification. Which is an interesting concept, which is very different. Some of you have been given too much of it. I don't think you can get too much love. You were gonna, was that a hand almost going up? No, it's okay. You know me, I'm watching little cues of, oh, you want to engage? Okay. Please. It's funny, I'm like hypervigilant for that. Your hand moved. You want to say something? Come on, admit it. Your hand wanted to say something. No. If you were going to say something, what would it have been? By the way, that's a really, you know, sometimes an adolescent says, I don't know. You just say, well, actually, if you did know, what would it be? And sometimes they'll give you an answer. Well, if I did know, it would be blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Well, it's like 3 wishes anyway. I don't know. Well, forget the first wish. Go to the 4th wish. What would that be? Oh, well, that would be blah, 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 blah. Okay. The other one with adolescents is very useful. When you don't know what to say to an adolescent, say to them, you know, I really don't know what to say to you right now. What should I say to you? And sometimes they'll come up with stuff. They'll go, well, you should say da-da-da. I go, that's brilliant. Yeah, like I was saying, da-da-da-da-da. Or the other one I'll say is, okay, you know exactly what I'm going to say. What am I going to say to you right now? You're going to say thrill sensibly. You're going to say live fully. You're going to say blah, 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 blah. And you're also going to say blah, 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 blah. And they go, whoa, that one's really good. I didn't think of that, but yeah, that's the other thing I'd say. All right, so you get fixated in these developmental stages and tacks. And that's called a neurosis, all right? Unresolved conflicts from the past that cripple you in the present. I dare say it's still a perverse protector. It's trying to protect you in ways from pain, from agony. So you repress, right? These are fundamental concepts. Repression. I mean, what's cool is, again, in the common lexicon of our culture, Western world, a lot of these terms are just seeped in. Everybody knows what repression is. And you know the difference between repression and suppression, right? What's the difference?
Suppression, you choose to push it down. Repression is like unconscious choice.
Correct. Correct, yeah. I mean, sometimes suppression you don't even choose. You just, what's the name of the first person you ever had a crush on?
I don't remember his last name.
What's his first name?
Chuck.
There you go. How old were you?
13.
Oh, God, that's old. Really? All right. Allison, my aim is true. I was 5 years old. Allison lived up the street. I would sit by her house waiting to see her. She was the daughter of a TV producer. And years later, I think I might have told you this, years later she was on a TV show here, my mom told me. She was hot. Allison. My aim is true, baby. Sorry, that was a little weird. Edit out. Richard, edit that one out. Rory, I still love you. I mean, it's okay. So, it's not, see, and unresolved. Allison! And of course, what would Siggy say? If I was stuck on her, what would he say I was really stuck on? Come on, come on, come on. Come on, it's psychoanalysis. What's the bottom line here?
Mother.
Yes, of course. Allison is just a screen memory or whatever from my mother, whom I really wanted, but I couldn't really have because she had Ben. Who's Ben? My father. I love them all. And that's probably also true. I don't know. But I sure don't have any images of chasing my mom. Allison, though. But that's a suppression, because I can pull it up. But I don't, you know. Yeah, repression is a defense mechanism. And by the way, one of the greatest compliments about Siggy is his daughter Anna. That Anna Freud got involved in the biz. And really got involved. She was the one actually who outlined all these defense mechanisms. I don't know if you know that. It's really Anna. Anna. It's a different song. It's the Beatles. So, okay, so you get fixated, and there are these repressed. Did I put repression up here? Yep, right here. Repressed memories. And they drain your energy. Again, it's kind of a closed energy system model. You only have so much charge in the battery. And this stuff drains the ego from its capacities. So you get crippled in some ways. And you use these defenses and overly use them. Okay. So, let's see if I left anything else out. Integrating. Right. Okay. Well, of course, he came up with this whole thing of the, at least he redefined and expanded upon the idea of the unconscious versus the conscious. As you know, I don't see it as unconscious. I see it as verbally non-conscious. And the difference is, I think we're very aware of certain things that we're not verbally aware of. Again, in the body and otherwise. So I think it's really more accurate to see it as verbally non-conscious than this concept that we have no awareness. We do have awareness. It's just not verbally aware. Again, it's like the 51st dates, where all that phenomenon, when the unknown, the unthought known. You know it, but you don't think. Intuition, I think, is a lot of unthought knowns. That you haven't but you're getting all these cues, and then you get the sensation, a feeling, then you have an image or something. And then it turns into a thought. And oh my God, you're actually right. So, but nonetheless, he certainly delineated, there is this other area. And as you know, he worked with, this guy's name, Mesmer? To be mesmerized. Hypnosis. A lot of his theory was based on the fact that he hypnotized people and they did different things and thought, oh my God, there's this other area they're not aware of. And it impacts how you are. So what cures in this model? What's the role of the therapist?
Making the unconscious.
Exactly. Where there was id, there will be ego. Exactly. Make all this unconscious, all this repressed stuff conscious. Where there was id, there will be ego. Where there's limbic, there'll be prefrontal cortex. So in many ways, it's a very neuro-integrative concept. You're moving from this limbic stuff to now, okay, I get it, and I can be freed, I can be released from this. It is really interesting when stuff changes form, when you're no longer hooked by something that used to hook you a lot. And usually that happens by talking about and ruminating, blah, 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 thinking, and it really is pre-fun, and then it dissipates, doesn't have the same charge. And that's fascinating when that happens. So how do you make the unconscious conscious, and what's the role of the therapist in this? What's the T word? Come on, you can do this. Yes, transference. Exactly. The main curative factors through the relationship Remember I told you way back when one very oversimplistic way to look at all schools of therapy is it relationally based? Is it skill acquisition based? This is, if you want to say the original, relationally based model. It's all about the relationship. Siggy would go on vacation with his patients, he wouldn't call them clients. And it's through the transference that you put on to me, the therapist, all that unconscious, as he would say it, stuff that you have, unresolved stuff, you're going to put on to me, the therapist. And then through the analysis, i.e. verbalization, prefrontal cortexing of all that seedy cauldron of impulses, come a transformation, come healing. It worked once in the Bronx, 1936. It can work sometimes. Slow on the joke, but that's okay. That was a mean joke, so you didn't have to laugh at that. Chuckle. So I see the role of the therapist in this model is like a lightning rod. The role of the therapist is like a lightning rod. Bring it on, man. And I'll neutralize it. I'll help neutralize it. So if humanistic is a mirror with heart, these guys are a lightning rod. Seems to me, I haven't read that, it's not official, lightning rod. Through this transference. Takes a long time. I told you I was in analysis. 4 days a week, 3 years. 4 days a week on the couch. And by the way, you get on the couch. Any of you ever been in therapy on a couch? Nobody in the room. Totally different experience. Did I tell you about my little quick experience? So I go to the analyst, right? And he puts me on the couch. First we chat like this. And I see this couch kind of looming over there. And he says, I said, when do I get on the couch? And he says, whenever you want. Like right now I could get up and lie down on the couch? Yeah. Right this second. Yeah. Wow. How much time do we got left? 20 minutes. Because of money and time and energy, I made a 30-minute session. So I go, and I'll never forget this moment. And I suddenly lie on the couch. And of course I hear him shuffle around, because now he's behind me. He's got the notepad. It's real. I thought, oh my God, this is analysis. And I close my eyes, and what do I say? Oh, I said, oh my God, I got an image. And it was totally silent. I have an image. I'm thinking he's going to say, what's the image? He doesn't. It's totally silent. I said, wow, this is really different. You're not going to ask me what the image is it? Are you? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what the image is. You are back there, right? No, I swear to God, this is like verbatim. I remember this moment. So I kind of looked, and I could see he had dark slacks on. I could see his slacks. And I didn't hear any snoring, so we're good. Here's the image I had, my very first image. Did I tell you this? Why am I? This is a deja vu. Oh my gosh. No.
You told us you fired him, so we kind of
Oh, I knew I told. Yes, thank you. So my network isn't totally destroyed. There was only loop. It's over generalizing. Thank you. I'm taking off on a pretty big wave at Windansea. I'm taking off and I'm dropping to the bottom, and I pull a turn. I'm like, yeah. And then I hear, so aha. And I think that's a good image. At least I didn't crash and burn and drown. Right? Okay. This is kind of a reinforcement contingency. I think this is very behavioralistic. Because you write, I want to tell you more. He didn't write that. So you didn't write that. And you're trying to figure out what you write and what you don't. I mean, it was like... It wasn't like that for 3 years. But we had a relationship. Oh, and I told you one of my hesitations about it. And I apologize, because of course this was a very different era. Because I thought, oh, I'm going to have this transference, and then I'm going to have a homosexual transference on him. And like, oh, really? You don't have to go through that. And I apologize. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, of course. Thank God for Modern Family and everything else. But this is many, many years ago. No, I feel bad. But okay, come on. So I have this dream. Like about a year and a half into this. So I have this dream. And I'm kissing this girl. And I kind of like it. And I was involved with this woman named Kathleen at the time. I said, you know, it wasn't Kathleen. I remember distinctly her name. Her name was Stephanie. And Stephanie and I are kind of making out. It's like, wow. And then I kind of wake up. And that's kind of all I remember. But it's not even. And then he actually says, well, you know, my first name is Stephen, spelled with a PH. Ah! I kissed the boy and I liked it. Ah! Again, I apologize, it's all fine. I'll never forget that one. Oh, it happened. So you think it really was you, huh? Stephanie, Stephan, oh gosh. Well, we only kissed, you know. We didn't go any farther. I woke up. It's a relationship. First of all, there's transference in every relationship. When we get to Jung, all reality is a symbolic mode. There's transference of this pen. How would you give me 3 adjectives to describe this pen?
Bright.
Sorry, I'll hold it steady. That's right.
Bright. I don't know.
Is that mysterious then? Powerful?
Powerful.
Okay.
Phallic.
Whoa! I wasn't even. I didn't. I got it. I swear to God, I didn't even think of that. That is so funny. I swear to God, I didn't. See how repressed I am? I didn't even think of that. Never mind. I really didn't. Because my point was that. It's not very big. Never mind. But of course, you know the joke about girls don't know math because they're always told this is 6 inches. That's such a bad joke. Oh, that's 6 inches. Really? This is so bad. That wasn't my point at all. See, now because my point was, you're describing yourself. Of course you're describing yourself. You're bright in ways, you're powerful in ways, and you're phallic in ways. And you're red, in fact. You're almost the same shade. This is it.
Oh, God.
If nothing else, psychoanalysis is fun. Very red. Yeah, in the back of your neck, same shade. But anyway, the point of that, of course, is transference. It transfers on everything. That's why the whole thing about play therapy is 3-dimensional inner world. You are the pen, you are the glasses, the case. You start describing that, you're describing an aspect of yourself. So of course in intimate relationships, there's a quote, transference. You start to wonder what's real out there versus here. Okay, so in the transference, through the interpretation, comes the healing, comes the neutralization. Okay. I like the other world better. It's fun to play with it. But anyway. All right, given again this unbelievably oversimplistic haikuism. And by the way, I should at least say, it was traditional. It went into the British psychoanalysis school. It went into ego psychology. It went through all kinds of permeations, and transformations. And all the way to the object relation folks and Kernberg and whatnot. And then into Kohut, self-psychology, which is really a blend of humanism and psychodynamic. There was a wonderful article comparing Kohut and Rogers. So that's all. And then you got Sugarman's article. You've got to read it. There's some beautiful things in Sugarman's article about modern. I think I have some quotes from it. So what do you think? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Let me find a quote. But what do you like? What don't you like? Bless you. Come on, people, what do you like? I'm looking for this quote from Sugarman. But keep going. Come on, talk to me. What do you like? Okay.
I like that it focuses on the relationship.
Okay, very good. It does, and it takes it very, 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 very seriously. I think I told you, I once invited this class many years ago, a guy named Paul Keith. He's a child psychoanalyst. He spends at least 5 sessions, at least, in the beginning, with just the parents, getting history, very, very thorough history of their relationships with their parents and all that, and how that impacts their relationship with their child, how all the nuances of the different phases of the child, etc., etc. That's taking history and relationships. If I can get a parent in for 1 session, just give me some background, I'm lucky. They want you here, see my kid. Wonderful, I need context. It's a team approach here. By the way, we are going to talk about therapist-parent relationship. It's such an important part. So we're going to get to that when we get to filial therapy. But so they take it very seriously, and it takes. I want to hear just the finished sentence. And he would see kids. The case he presented, he saw it for 2 years. I think it was 3 to 4 times a week, and he felt it was incomplete. They pulled her out too soon, he thought. Though the symptoms abated within the first 6 months or so. So for the next 1.5 years, he had her anyway, 3 or 4 times. Now, please, question, comment.
I just was wondering if there's a specific type of intake you like doing with kids.
Oh, absolutely.
That's special. That's different than your average intake.
But I don't know if it's, because I don't even know what the average intake is anymore. But I obviously want to know. I want to know the history. I do a haiku history of the couple's relationship. I do a lot of work with divorced kids, so I get separate histories. And I want to know about that. I want to know the climate. I obviously want them to give me some adjectives describing this kid. And I obviously do want to know something. Oh, that's really important. Give me some adjectives. How do you describe it? Blah, blah, blah. And I do want to know something about the developmental phases. Anything, you know, did he walk, talk kind of as expected, or she? I want to know a lot about competencies. You know, you're looking for how do they see self, other, in the world. So and I would say that. How would you describe how your child sees themselves? How do you think they see others? How do you think they see the world at large? Very optimistic, pessimistic. I do the Chimpton checklist, the Chimpton checklist, the symptom checklist. Thank you. And I heard that. I heard the sound in there. I did. I heard it. It sounded like sex list. Yeah, I did. I heard that. I know. I'm holding this tight, aren't I? Yeah, a little tighter. Aren't I? Here, do you want it? So I start with nightmares, bedwetting, headaches, stomachache, somatic complaints, obvious signs of anxiety, nervous twitches, all that stuff, biting nails, phobias, OCD, obvious signs of depression, life sucks, wish I was never born, ahedonic, doesn't seem to enjoying anything, temper tantrums, acting out, bullyings, any of that kind of stuff. Spaced out, gone, lost. I don't mean involved in something deeply. I mean drool, city kind of stuff, earth to whoever. ADD, ADHD, that kind of stuff. Relationships to peers, gotta know about that. Friends at school, friends outside of school, does the overnights, not overnights, all that stuff. Any unusual sexual behavior. I left any. Lying, stealing, acting out, sociopathic-y stuff. So I kind of cover those big spectrums. And then what they say can guide me to other things. I need to, okay? So these folks are very thorough about relationship. I'll take it back now, thank you. What else do you like? Let's be clear. When Siggy came on board, before he became a brand, this is Vienna. This is turn of the century Vienna. You walk into a room and there are, what do they call them, doilies? Is that what they call them? There are these little cloth material, kind of like socks, over the, none dare call it table legs, table appendages. And those appendages are covered. Okay? That's how, one might say, uptight, turn of the century Vienna was. That's how uptight it was. It was unbelievable. No wonder they had hysterical symptomatologies and whatnot. And this guy, in an era when you cover the table appendage with, I don't know if they're called doilies, whatever they're called, those little covers, they're very nice, lace and all that other stuff. Not to be crass, he's saying you want to fuck your mother and kill your dad? Oh my God! Oh my God! And the guy wasn't arrested or put in a loony bin. He became reified and deified. I mean, that's incredible, the courage it would take to say, you know, I think there's a whole other thing going on here. And there are these complexes and these unresolved, you press stuff and really underneath it all, you want to screw your mom. And you want to kill your dad. Ah! That is heroic. That is heroic. And he was the first really to say, actually, during our time together, you can think, feel, and say in fact, I want it. Bring it on, man. Bring on the seediest, darkest, weirdest shit you can possibly think of. You want to hear my pen go? Oh, man, bring it on. I told you, you open any page to Melanie Klein's analysis of a narrative of a child analysis, I think is the name of the book. Open any page and read what she says. I told you the page I opened to was a drawing of the kid drew her, the child, and Melanie walking, little stick figures, and a cloud raining on them. Right? And do you remember what, did I tell you? Again, I'm sorry, I don't remember what I told you. Okay, so she interpreted this for the child. Her interpretation, I see you want to pee on me. Huh? Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, the kid didn't go, wow, you're right, but can I go to the bathroom now? The kid didn't do that as far as I know. But I'm thinking, if nothing else, here he's being taken to this proper older lady by his parents, and she's saying these really dirty, nasty things. She says to them, I know you want to be inside my belly, inside my womb. I know you want to have my baby. I mean, she says these things to these little pumpkins. It's very primary process work. But she says them in a warm, lilting, smell the cookies in the oven baking kind of way. The kid must think, any evil, weird thought I have is no problem. This lady's much dirtier than I am. I'm fine. This is cool. I don't have to do this anymore. Hey, that's okay. It's okay if I want to pee on people, and I want to be in wombs and have babies and kill my dad, and it's fine. I'm being a little facetious, but not totally. I mean, they really do say, think, feel, say anything. I don't know if they go do just about anything, but I was once in a called the Tavistock group. Tom Morrison, my Yale-trained supervisor at UC Davis when I'm doing my block internship. You had these experiences as part of your internship, block internship. So we did a Tavistock, which is very, very psychoanalytic, group. So all the interns and the others, there was about 30 of us in this room for 2 full days, Friday night through Sunday evening. There's Tom on one corner of the room, and then the other compatriot in the other corner. They are totally silent. They would put the British Guard, Buckingham Palace Guard, to shame. I mean, you couldn't get them to react whatsoever. They would like blink together every like 38 seconds. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they would suddenly make a comment. The first comment they made, the group is struggling between the penis and the breast. Whoa, what? Huh? And then we start talking. Blah, 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 blah. We try to get them ready. And then we'd wait for their next old man. Oh my God, what a bizarre experience. But they believe that with time, with a relationship, if you just honor what the person has to say long enough and accept, I guess value and validate in my language, unconditionally, something good happens. Yes?
Which one out?
Oh, of course it has to be both. You have to have both. You have to have nurturance. I mean, if you're in that model, you have to have nurturance and all that, and you have to have phallic to the worldness, which it personifies a masculine trait. God knows it doesn't have to be. Buffy started that whole thing. There's a wonderful article about female heroes, kick-ass Laura Croft. I mean, now there's the whole history. And what's her face? Ketris, whatever. I haven't seen the Hunger Games yet. But anyway, there's all kinds of. I love Xena. Ever see Xena? Kick ass. And Agent Dunham in what was that show? Oh, I loved her.
Fringe?
Yeah, in Fringe. Agent Dunham. Oh, there's some great female tough ass heroes. Okay, so relationship. I have tremendous respect for his courage. The guy had courage. I told you, he also lived where Porsche tested his cars. I always loved that. Bergerstrasse, because it was a big hill. Berger means hill. Hill Street. So Porsche used to test his Porsches. And I always thought somehow that influenced people's associations. They had these cars going, So part of psychodynamic was really formed because of Porsche. He had a lot of courage. Have you ever read any page of dream, interpretation of dream? It's big tone. You feel like, it's beautiful. You gotta sit and just read a few pages. It feels like you and Siggy are sitting in his parlor in these, what I would imagine would be beautiful, big, that kind of dark red leather chairs. And though I have no desire for this in the outer world, in that fantasy, he and I are sipping cognac and smoking really good Cuban cigars. And you're talking about the soul and the psyche and all this new frontier that's totally been never discovered, and now but you're vanguarding this incredible exploration of the real final frontier, the human psyche. Man, Siggy, dude, bro, where do you come up with this shit, man? This is awesome. That's how it feels. And that's in the English translation. That's what the German's like. It's very common. So he writes well, man. It's a good read, man. It's very thorough. Unbelievably thorough. Oh my God, you read Kernberg? It's like quantum mechanics of the soul. Try to keep track of all those internal objects. Wait, it's like reading Proust, Dostoevsky. Who are all these characters? You try to keep track of it. So it's very thorough. Some would say obsessively so. OCD-ishly so. This guy named Fenichel we used to read in grad school. 561 pages of interpretation. All of them lead to the same place. Castration complex. Every single one. No matter what the symptom was. Whether it was gambling, philandering, whatever. He knew where he was going. And after my analysis, and yeah, we got into a fight because I felt really discounted by him. And he admitted it. Countertransference. I did see good old John Hassler. Very nice analyst who's very practical. Once a month. Not on the couch. Chat with him. Interesting stuff, good stuff. The only thing that kind of got to me was it always came down to my mother. John, I don't know. Maybe that might also be true, but it doesn't grab me. Not because I'm being defensive. So what are some of the things you don't necessarily like as much about psychoanalytic?
Time-consuming.
Time-consuming. Insurances, I don't know if any insurance pays for it anymore. They do. That's cool. Some do. That's cool. Time-consuming, what else? Ever heard the phrase, and I never say it quite right, Procrustean bed. So it's this fairy tale where there's this inn and there's this bed. And everybody has to conform to the size of the bed. So if you're too tall, your legs get chopped. If you're too shy, I know, it's gruesome. Come on, it's a fairy tale. I love the facial, like, you just amygdalized me. Sorry, amygdala. If you're too short, they stretch you out. Well, again, everything is mother. Everything is father. Everything is castration. I mean, come on, really? Really? And if you dare say, I don't think so. Oh, interesting. Now that's interesting. We need to explore that. Oh, really? Whoa, I'm sensing some anxiety there? Some fear even? No, it's not fear. It's called frustration. Now that's interesting. Fuck, man! Actually, that sounds more like anger than frustration. Dude! Is it reminding you? Did you feel this way with your... Yeah, I felt that way with my father. Okay, I admit it. He pissed me off, and so do you. Because you treat me like shit. Like I don't count. No. But there is that sense of everything fits in this model. And you can't really question it. It's kind of, what's that famous term? Tautological. And if you dare question it, it feels like, at least in the olden days, then you're obviously all the more proof that you really are being defensive, therefore. It really is this unresolved conflict. And that's really what my analyst and I got in that fight about. That it wasn't about transference. It was about a real human relation between he and I. And that he wasn't owning that. After 3 years, dude. Okay, so it is, I don't know how to spell Procrustean, but it's a force-fit model in some ways. At least the old version. Takes a lot of time. We're talking about what you don't like about it, what's less hot. Is there any particular you don't like about psychoanalytic thought?
I don't know if it's been said, but it's too sexual for me. Like,
oh, now that's interesting. You who were wearing kind of a red thing, and yeah. Well, what we were saying, actually, to point on that, in fact, is it does kind of fit everything into one model. And dare you question it, they just say, well, you're being defensive. Like I just did now. Interesting, you should say that, blah, 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 blah. So they assume by the very fact that if you question it, that must be the issue you have. Sometimes true, sometimes not true. The nice thing about what Sugarman said, though, in contrast to that, he says some pretty radical things. It's really not about insight anymore. It's about being insightful. About thinking, having a theory of mind. Which really goes all the way now to Daniel Siegel. Mindsight, he calls it. That's really his big thing. But at least our gift is to be able to think about thinking, which is prefrontal cortex. But you have a and he even says, it's wonderful. He says, the therapist has to, this is radical, the therapist has to share their own thoughts, their own feelings. This is so Rogerian. To model, if nothing else, for the client what it is to explore one's mind and theories and thoughts of mind. If you don't model it for them and just ask them to do it and sit silent, how's that of help to them? So that's radical. And it's about being less about insight and much more about being insightful. And delving into the past isn't necessarily at all useful in healing. Whoa, really? You gotta read the Sugarman thing. It's cool. Okay. We covered enough? I think we covered enough. Any other, I guess I'll make sure that I haven't left anything out that'll be obvious. Object relations theory, conflict, fixation, repetition compulsion. You know about that one? That one's really good. We repeat the things that was most difficult for us in order to try and conquer them, to undo them. That's wonderful. That is brilliant. The woman had an alcoholic dad, so of course she marries an alcoholic person to try and undo it, and therefore magical child thinks, I've undone my dad. That's brilliant. No question. We do that all the time. With ego. Seems really right. It takes long. Bad. Okay. I think we're good on that. We are going to see a video. We're going to see a video of Rudolf Eckstein, who, I don't know if the dear man's still alive, but was a child psychoanalyst. I mean, by the way, again, seeing a little pumpkin 3 to 4 times a week. Wow, that's a lot, man. Kids do need a life outside of that relationship. But nonetheless, so he's eminent. In fact, he's given lectures here long ago, world-renowned. I wanted to find a tape, so I called around. Barbara Rosen was my supervisor years ago when I was at CMH doing a postdoc. She's a marvelous psychoanalytic psychologist. She's taught psychoanalysis type courses here. Please take it if she does. She's wonderful, loves this stuff, brilliant. I call her and say, Barbara, is there any tape? She goes, well, I just was at a conference, Rudolf Eckstein, and he had a tape. It's fantastic. So I called the gentleman. Very gracious, European. I think he studied with some of the boys, some of the originals. So you'll see, it's very urbane. I love that word. Learned it for GREs, urbane. David Niven. So he does have this tape. It's Tara. That's the girl's name. And she is, I think she's 12-ish. She's kind of a tweener. He has seen her at this point, I think, for about almost a year. Parents divorced. Mom is going to remarry. Signs of depression is why she's brought. Okay, let's see if we can make this happen. We don't have a remote control. Okay. I forgot which video one works. Do we know which one? Make sure. No. Okay, here we go. Power. Power. Okay. Lights. I will tell you what you're going to see at first, which will make no sense to you if you could get those lights, is weird, kind of psychedelic lights and colors. I don't know why they did that, but that's what's happening. I will give you a little hint here so it makes some sense of it. Little Tara has brought an audio recording of the movie Annie. She actually went to the theater, took a tape recorder. That's how important this was to her. This was before, oh my God, there were videotapes, never mind Netflix. That's how important. She saw the movie 3 times, bless you, and she recorded it, and she brings this tape in. And she wants him to listen to this tape with her. If I was going to title this, it would be, I want to dance. I want to talk. Please work. Looks like it might work. Oh, that's the very end of Carl. It'll go away. Bye-bye. Size. Here we go. The Go-Go's. Do that without getting tired. Notice how very, very, very different this is, not right, wrong, than what all you've been taught so far. In terms of humanistic approach, right? You'd be reflecting. I see you're dancing. Wow, you have an amazing ability to express yourself and feel joy. But, you know, all kinds. It looks like it's important for you that I see you, right? You'd be reflecting motor ideation, feelings, traits, characteristic attributes, etc. This is very, very different. Not right, wrong. A little more Tavistock. He certainly is engaging. He certainly is watching her. But he's not about to reflect everything she does. Okay?
Is this the song from Annie?
No, it's going to change in a moment.
It's been a while since I've seen that.
No, you'll get into this. Is just a very introduction. She brought this Go-Go's tape.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry to disorient you. He asks questions. She makes a gesture. He says, what does that mean? The assumption that everything has a meaning. This is pre-breakdancing.
They would think I surprised. But now you do all the very time.
That was a reflection.
This is totally different. But I know the words, I know all the songs. Yeah, so sing.
Classic latency. Latency Latency moves much more from assimilation, my way, highway, to accommodation, learning about the external world. When you have a pre-latency age like the little pumpkins we had last week, you give them a SAM world, they'll put the big figure next to the little tiny house, doesn't bug them one bit. When you see the filial therapy tape, oh, it's a beautiful tape. There's this adorable little girl, and a baby's being adopted. And so there's a puppet who looks like a doctor. And well, now she wants the puppet to be just a dad getting the new baby. She just says, pretend that's not there, all the doctor clothes. Just like that, not there, okay, gone, boom. There is, you know, an Easter bunny, there is something, that's all that metaphoric mind, that's all assimilative. She is latency, so it bugs her that first it was dark hair, now it's red hair. So what area of the brain is that? Where are we now? Developing the prefrontal cortex. What is reality? What is truth? What's differentiating versus Dr. Schmachter, now he's a dad. The magic minding, man. Poof, you're a dad. You can fly. Woo! Both are really important. But this was really interesting. I should that. Can you hear this enough?
I can't hear him very well.
Ah, it's important.
Yeah.
He asks lots of questions, you make comments. Remember, one of the assumptions is there's a defensive structure that you have to work around. And you have to move in. So in this we, me dimensions that I keep looking at, he's a lot of times it's me, not we. Right now she says, do you understand the story? Again, a lot of questions. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a gift for this guy. Oh my God, he's doing this workshop, he's having it taped, and she brings in Annie, little orphan Annie, lost her parents, getting a new dad. Oh my God. You don't have to be a psychoanalyst to go, oh, let's see, divorced parents, mom's getting remarried. Oh my God, it's such a gift. So what kind of daddy is Warbucks? Oh, I'm a great dad. He's going to contradict her. Remember that every human encounter in some sense brings us closer, the same, or more distant. Again, if I'm sitting, we're closer. If I'm standing, we're more distant. And one of the simplest dimensions is simply you either agree with what the person just said, neither agree or disagree. If we just coded their interaction, see how often it's a disagree. She'll say something, Daddy Warbucks was wonderful. No, he wasn't. I thought he didn't have time for it. Now, he's not trying to be mean. I believe what he's trying to do is get around her defense, to admit, I'm scared, you're right, this could be really bad, I'm worried that he's not going to love me. And I'm mad at him, I want to kill him and my dad, or whatever. So he wants to get through to a certain position. That's why it's really important that they talk. And you'll see she keeps going to want to keep dancing and dancing, and he's going to want to talk and talk. But it's interesting, just the little ways he will try to move through it. But that's what's wonderful about him, is he is true to his theory. He has a theory, and he really guides his work. And that's beautiful in many ways. We'll go about, what time is it, by the way? Because I know what time is it?
9:52.
Okay, 10 o'clock, we'll take a break. She felt more like talking than singing. Something very important just happened. She notices it's being taped. She knows it's being taped, but she looks and says, yes, I'm sure we have a wonderful audience. Dance and whatnot. She's going to say, she says to him, you're going to dance? And he goes, no. If I could dance, if I danced, the audience would run away. Okay? So again, this isn't a good bad, but it's the interaction. She's going, oh, let's dance. He's going, no, I can't dance. That's okay. Watch what happens. They'll both come back to it.
But I can dance to it.
I can't dance like a young girl.
See, that's what she says. Don't you want to dance?
I would like to sing with Annie. Annie always was sitting there and listen to the music, and ask her to tell me a little bit about her family, all the things she knows, so that I would know what makes her happy and what makes her unhappy. And then I could help her to be happy.
I could say verses.
You could do what?
Okay? If you couldn't hear it much, I'll retranslate, because it's really important. So again, she says, you can dance. I can't dance. I can't dance like a young girl. She goes away. She comes back and says, don't you want to dance with me? And he says very nicely, what I'd like to do is sit with Annie. By the way, her name is Jackie, actually, not Tara. Tara's a different tape. This is Jackie. I want to sit with her and talk so I can listen and hear what makes her happy, what's make her sad, so that I can help. Now, one of the other strains, if you will, about that, they're very, very clear. I'm a doctor. You have a problem. It's okay. We can talk about it. You're depressed, sad. I want to know what makes you happy and sad so I can be of help to you. This is a process. What might she say? And so he's trying to get, and what she does, which is a fabulous compromise. Well, maybe I can sing the words. If you don't want me to dance, but I don't really want to talk, maybe I can sing. So it's actually brilliant. Now, unfortunately, he can't hear her sometimes because of the music, and so he doesn't, what? And then she's already gone to the next thing. So a client comes to you, a little girl says, let's dance. What do you say? And no right wrongs, what do you say? No right wrongs. Let's dance.
Let's dance.
You would dance?
I would dance.
Just okay.
Maybe a few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, no right wrongs. Anybody not dance, would dance? Most everybody would dance?
Depends on what kind of dance.
I'm sorry, what?
It depends on the kind of dance.
Oh, okay. What dance wouldn't you do?
I mean, if little girls like, let's just have like a dance party, we're dancing very separately. So it's a very different thing than like dancing to a slow song with little girls if you're like, her father.
Right.
Obviously not
Yeah, right. Miley Cyrus. Right, it's good. With that G string, yeah, not a good.
So I just mean like if it was like gaining rapport and you're like in a room, I mean even with like a group, running a group, and everyone was just dancing.
Oh, sure.
And that's like a big, very different.
Yeah, but this is, so I told you about the little one who basically the grandma says, you're going to help raise this kid, right? Who actually came here when she was like 3, and I've seen her ever since. She's now 16. She's the one who invited me to the father-daughter dance. She asked me to dance. Well, actually what she said, this was fabulous. Let's have a dance contest. And I, meaning her, and the judge. I said, absolutely. Let's be clear. You're going to win. But I'll be happy to dance with you. It'd be an honor. No, it's not really dancing with her, though. It's different. She had, and of course, we tried different styles and everything from auto tango to hip-hop. You don't even want to see that. I'll spare you that image. You'll have to race the hard drive of the soul.
It almost seems like it's sort of like building rapport with your
It's
client.
we. There's no, one of the wonders of dance for all of us is it's such a we-ness. It's such a way to be bi-monic in that nonverbal, or, oh, it's incredible. Dance and singing, it's why harmony was created. You want to be separately together? Harmonize. It's incredible. Separately together and dancing? Oh my God. Obviously I took ballroom dancing once.
Yeah, I feel like him saying no is kind of rejecting that, and it's a little bit of shame. I mean, she's not reacting in a way that she's shamed, but there's a little bit of like, why won't you dance with me? And I don't know.
If you want to be over-analytic, it's interesting to watch when she covers herself and when she takes it off. Because she went over, maybe just got cold, whatever, but she put on that coat, and she sits there, and she kind of goes, would you want to dance with me? Oh, I think she's reacting very heavily. Now, one of the things you could say, and I think, I told you what I said to her when she invited me to the father dance thing, but as I recall, I actually said more. It's important to say things like, there's a part of me, even I can imagine he would say, there's a part of me that would love to dance with you. First of all, it's an honor that you'd invite me. That's so cool. You want to connect, that's fabulous. He could say, you know, on the other, so part of me would love to dance. I wish I could dance like you could dance. On the other hand, this other part of me is like embarrassed, like, oh God, I don't know, and feel klutzy and whatnot. I could have said, I think I did, I am so honored that you invited me to that dance. That you would see me as a father in some way or another, as an honor, a pleasure and a privilege. There's a part of me that would love to go. I bet you're going to wear this wonderful dress and you look so pretty, and there's going to be all kinds of cookies and fun stuff at the dance, and that'd be awesome. And also I'm thinking you're going to be there, and you might feel a lot about other girls with their dads, and you don't have a dad. And I don't want you to experience that pain in a way. So I'd want to be there with you. Okay. However, hang on. Thank you. Interrupt anytime. I'm worried in a way that might change our relationship. This is really precious to me and hopefully to you, our relationship here. And I think it might change that in some ways. And so maybe I'm a wimp. I'm not willing to risk it in a way. But I am here for you. I can't be your dad, but I can be here in your joy, and I can be here in your sorrow, and I'm here for the long run. For the long run. So we can talk about our different parts. You just say it, you know, part of me is this and part of me is that. I don't know. And look for the effect. And I can see that hurt you. And I apologize for any ways I hurt you. Here, now. Please.
I was kind of wondering if he was doing it purposely or just it was a...
Oh, no. I think he felt awkward. I think
even his theory, like you were saying, that the audience would run away. You know,
he's embarrassed.
I display myself, they won't respond well, and it will end the relationship, that kind of thing.
Well, in a way, it's that's a countertransference. And in a way, if we look at shifting, he has shifted his shame onto her. I feel ashamed if you saw me clunk around. So no, I can't dance. And what happens? She feels shame. Because remember what shame is, right? When you want to connect and are rejected, you will feel shame. And if there isn't rapprochement, you will feel humiliation.
Do you think he would always respond in this manner in this situation, or do you think that there's an aspect of the fact that it's being filmed and...
I think filming adds to the dimension of self-consciousness. Yeah. I don't imagine so much him getting up and dancing. He really does want to talk with her. Remember, he sees this as a defense. We didn't put that word up there enough. Defense structure is really, again, I do believe the Department of Defense, as I call it in the inner White House, is the strongest department. I get it. But he's using it in a slightly different way. So he looks at her actions as defending herself, and the dancing and all is protecting herself, and he wants to get past the defense. Rather than, to me, join it, whatever you want to call this, join it. Because again, it's more about the relationship, the we-ness in this. And that it's a valid expression in and of itself. See, they, in a way, deify verbalization as the only really valid expression of from the limbic to the prefrontal, from id to ego. We have to talk. And somehow if we don't talk, it's not real. It doesn't really do that integration. I don't believe that at all. That's a huge difference between when we get to it. Jung and Siggy Freud is what their real assumption is about the function of the psyche and this thing we call the unconscious, non-conscious. Very different interpretation about what a symbol is, which we'll get to. It's probably 10. Take a break. Come back, because I really want you to see this entire tape at 10 after. Refresh. Okay, we're back. Important footnote, by the way, what object relations added to psychoanalytic thought, sorry to interrupt, is the idea of human relations. Another drive we have is to connect, to relate. I don't know why they had to call it object relations instead of human relations, but that's what it really is. And they added that. Okay, back to Jackie and the good Dr. Eckstein. Let's see, play. Which is play? Oh, I can't even see which is play. So I'll just do it this way. I'll eject, and then put it back in, and it'll start where it was. Okay, so dance, talk. And she compromises by willing to sing. See how she contradicts him?
I can see you down, down, why are you following me? Look how long they are.
They go with the outfit.
But I got them separately. And then I got these separately.
But you try to get them so they fit together.
Black and purple, and black.
And a little white.
She bought all this outfit specifically for this session. It's really important to her.
The story started, she was called Orphan Annie, not just Annie, because she was an orphan and very unhappy.
This is when It's a Hard Knock Life starts. Not this. This is when Miss Annie comes in.
Right.
Have you seen the movie?
No, I didn't see the movie. Is that from the movie? Was it on television, the movie? You just took that alarm to the movie?
We did it. You're not supposed to do that, but we were going to make it. We were not going to copy it. I did that now.
Just do it for your personal use. It came out quite well.
Except some people were copying other stuff. When people are copying, they pick stuff on here. You know, they're like, it wasn't right.
Would you like to play art?
Huh?
Would you like to be an actress and play art? What happened now?
His hand again. That's when she started. But no, and then I go,
You make sure that it's sound.
That was the first time you tell me about your life. Was it really so hard? The nice thing is he invites her to, hey, would you want to play Annie? You know, all this time it's like, let's talk. So in this case, he just said, do you want to play Annie? She jumps on that. That's wonderful. She's doing this whole thing. The interesting thing is, when she's talking about being happy and all that, he says, well, no, I think it was tougher than that. She's now talking about how hard it is, and he says, was it really so hard? One would think he would say, again, you can look at any of my tapes and do the backseat therapizing, and I make a lot of, quote, mistakes. You'd think he'd say, it sounds like it was incredibly hard. Boy, you went through a lot. You felt like just throwing the towel in. It's amazing you got back up. Wow. But it's interesting, they're bi-reciprocal kind of interactions that go on. But it's about defense structures, getting through it. But there is a connection between them. Look at all she's doing. Talk about Daddy Warbucks. Guess who's Daddy Warbucks in that relationship? Duh. She's Annie, he's Warbucks. And she danced with me. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I'll twirl. I'll do the Michael Jackson thing, the breakdance thing. It's like unbelievable. I got this whole outfit. Wow. Beautiful.
See, if I was wearing these without these socks on or without those ones, they'd be all messed up. Building.
You'll see in Sugarman's article, he talks about experience always starts in the body first. Nice that he notices the dance.
Leslie, you use Hannigan.
If you bad hand, how would you convince Daddy Warbuck that you should be a friend?
I'm smiling at him.
You're just smiling.
And he's really sweet.
I don't he believes that. It wouldn't be enough for me, you know. Because if I met Daddy Warbuck, I would just want to talk with her and want to know from her words what she thinks about it all. Because the smile, you know, could be just pretense. So what might you say?
Did you hear all that? So if I were Daddy Warbucks, if I were Daddy Warbucks, how would you get me to like you? I would smile, be really sweet. That wouldn't be enough for me. I'd want her to sit and talk and tell me who she is. Basically. So smile, you know, it can just be pretense. So what would you say? I don't know. What do you think? Kind of on the one hand or the other hand? On the one hand, she's rejected again. I mean, you can see in her face. She goes down like this, her lip goes out. I don't know. I mean, talk about body expression, really primal. Body speaks humanese. On the other hand, he's also saying, hey, look, you're a cute blonde. Don't settle just for that. Don't settle for just being a cute blonde with a smile and be real sweet. You have depth. You get to share that. I mean, that's another way to look at that. The bind is, I don't think that's how she's experiencing it in the moment. What matters is her existential experience in the moment. And so I think, again, she feels rejected, but the intent is really good. The bind is a pre-latency kids until we are 6. When you give them interpretations, we talked about this before. Piagetian, they don't have the prefrontal cortex to go, oh, I get it. Cloud, rain, pea, I get the association. Yeah, it makes sense to me. When they get to this stage and they have more PFC, that it's true the defensive structure is more intact, saying, whoa, whoa, wait, no, I don't think so. No, I don't hear that. I don't want to talk about it. I had a kid just the other day, you know, loves to do a lot of stuff. He's about 10-ish. I said, you know, your mom mentioned that, and by the way, I make it very clear what the kid tells, I can't say to anybody. What moms or dads say, I can't say to the world, I can say to you. Wow. Mentioned that this happened with dad. He looked at me and says, I don't want to talk about it. What's a good response to that? I mean, a million responses. What might you say? I don't want to talk about it. I mean, you can start with okay. I mean, and by the way, if you don't know what to say, you can also say, you know, wow, I'm not sure what to say to that. Because on one hand, I think it's, again, always go for the one hand and the other hand. On one hand, I think it's important, I want to talk about it, and want to make this most useful and help me take great care of stuff. On the other hand, man, I don't want to intrude and trod into you, not really worried, but I think that feeling. On the other hand, I really respect how you know what feels right to you and not right to you, and man, nobody's going to push you around. You just go, no, I'm not going to talk about it. So that's cool, but then I also think, you know, it might be important to talk, so I'm wondering if I can make it safe for you to talk. But maybe you really don't want to talk about it, and maybe I'm talking too much now anyway. One hand, other hand, third hand, fourth hand. Okay, interesting dynamics.
Oh, yes.
No Daddy Warbuck, huh? Not yet.
I just wonder when he will come into her life so that he can talk to her.
So that he can talk to her. The amount of times he tells her, talk. And leave her alone. Talk about the dog.
Leave him alone.
The dog.
How the dog?
Put hands on the tail. Who's next?
But it's Daddy Warbuck will say to you, no dog.
stay because he got a robber coming in. He caught a robber.
Can the dog stay?
Huh?
Is the dog allowed to stay?
Not at the orphanage, so they hide the dog. But then the Hannigan finds it.
No, so Anne would really want to keep the dog too.
Not Annie.
Annie, if you could have such a dog, and you would say to your lady Walker, out with the dog, you can stay but not the dog.
She wouldn't stay because when the lady came to get her boy, Annie was hiding behind the door and she goes, do you have any boys? And Miss Hannigan goes, no. She says, well, do you have any girls? Miss Hannigan says, yes. What kind would you like? And Annie's behind them at the bed and Annie goes, behind the door and Annie goes, red hair, that's what the lady says to Miss Hannigan, blue eyes, freckles, and Miss Hannigan says, well, you don't have that. And then the lady goes over to the door and says, what about her? And Miss Hannigan goes, well, you can't take her. She hasn't come into her. Because after this, she ran out of the orphanage. That's how she got outside. Because they don't let them out of the orphanage.
Why didn't they want to let her go?
Because she'll run away. She'll run away looking for her mom and dad.
She was looking for them. Did she want to? What happened now?
This is when I get Sandy in the orphanage. Champion means big butt. Tiger, but there's no fighting in Tiger. Kittens with friends and over. Why don't we think it over? Over is a perfect name for this double candle.
How could Anne survive the orphanage?
She has friends.
Could you? If you had to leave home and be in an orphanage? You ever thought it might have to be like Anne? Not really.
Sandy says
See how she closes and then she yawns and whatnot? They were talking about her being in an orphanage. That was scary to her.
It's nice to think of a story where you know you're going to win.
Did you hear that one? That was nice. It's nice to think of a story where you know you'll win. In many ways, this is a very, in some ways, therapist-directed approach. You know, what we've been working on a lot is very child-centered, reflective, mirror with heart, etc., etc. Every once in a while, you kind of say, well, we can co-sing a song together in a sense, or co-develop, like the play last time. We kind of co-authored, if you will, because it's bimonic and whatnot. This is, we sit, we listen, we get a lot of material, and then we make a comment. Now, some of the comments were, you know, you're going to be in an orphanage. What part of her brain shot up when he said that, if you had an fMRI? You bet. She amygdalated. And she fidgets. And she closes up like this. She yawns. I mean, just classic anxiety sign. Sometimes when you ask her a question, you know, if you're going to talk to Daddy Warbuck and you're going to tell him about your heart, what did you say? I don't know. Her amygdala's firing. Amygdala fires. You lose empathy for self and other. You close down like this. It's not your open, playful, explorative mind. When he says, hey, do you want to play Annie? Oh my God, she's in magic mind. She's singing, she's dancing. And nice that he says, I didn't know you could say so much in dancing. That's cool. He is now, he said something that I think did touch her, because again, she's more open. And he's saying, it's nice to think of a story where you know the ending is good. It's comforting. Things are getting a little better. Gonna get a real new daddy again. Good daddy. Doesn't have to live without a daddy.
They died in a car accident.
Sometimes one loses parents on the way through.
Yeah, like divorce.
They left her at the orphanage on the doorstep, and then with the half of the charm.
First they deserted her, they ran away.
And then they died. But she said, when my parents come, I'll know they're mine because they'll have the other half of the charm. And at the end, Daddy Warbuck gives her a new charm.
He found it.
No, he gives her, because she finds out that her parents are dead, and so Daddy Warbuck stops. And he gives her a charm saying, I love you, and I love you, Daddy Warbuck.
She is now another daddy. It's sort of rough to get used to another daddy. It's rough to get used to another daddy.
It's rough to get used to another daddy. You're gonna have a stepdad. That's gonna be rough.
The little one. And they wait for 80 days. When did you see that movie?
A long time ago.
This time Jackie brought it up today. Because I know very nicely. You like it because you have an understanding for children who lose their parents and then want to get a good daddy back.
On the mark. Did you hear that one? He got it. And you see how she nodded? Yes, yes, yes. That was beautiful. If you want to say that's maybe an advantage in a way of this style is, you said you get a lot of data and you throw out, and every once in a while you really hit it. I'm glad you brought it today because I know why you like this movie. You have an understanding of what it's like to lose a daddy and want to have a good daddy back. And she's going, perfect, beautiful. That's interpretation, right? Their bedrock is interpretation. From whence all this underlying stuff cometh. Where there is it, there will be ego. Now you have an understanding about yourself. Cool. Good job, Rudy. Dude, Siggy, be proud. Didn't she wonder if Daddy Warbuck's going to keep her? No.
No, she didn't.
She was quite sure that he would keep her.
Oh no. She could have gone back to the orphanage in case she left.
No, well, but it's not much of a weakness. To think that she would lose now that she has a new friend and a new daddy, then he deserts her again and she's going to go back to this.
No,
Now they start to argue. No.
No, what I mean is how will she know? You can't know this in the beginning. When you make a friend, you go right away, and the friend is going to remain faithful to you. Go figure out first. If you get a good daddy, how can you be sure the daddy is going to stay?
So part of his style is trying to teach her lessons in a sense. You know, how do you know if you get a good dad, he's going to stay? Right? And she worried. And she starts to like, no, go away. So it's kind of we, and then not we, and then we, and that whole dance that we all do. But it's interesting, they do it briskly when it happens. But they stay in there. And he lets it go. Now they're we again. At least he's reflecting on her.
It's here from you about Daddy Warbuck and she grows up, maybe they will call her Anne. You will figure out some other. Looks like you know that tape very well.
that for dancing or for talking? Most of these songs are dumb because it's not the kids who are singing them.
That's Daddy Warbucks. You know who's Daddy Warbucks? In the movie? Who?
No, I don't know the name.
Kojak.
Oh, yeah.
He was Daddy Warbucks.
Pretty good.
Yeah, but they said he was, at the end, Joel drove him tap dancing. And he did pretty good, but, you know.
It's nice to have a daddy who can tap dance.
Nice to have a daddy who can tap dance.
Oh, he didn't know either?
Oh, he didn't know either.
No, I couldn't play Daddy Warbucks.
I couldn't play Daddy
But
Warbucks.
I can talk. Maybe that's
But I can talk like Daddy Warbucks. Won't let it go. Can you tap dance? Really? Guess you need tap dance shoes for that. Did you get that? Can you tap dance? Yeah, really? So she goes out, she does her thing. He says, I guess you need tap dance shoes for that. Rudy, dude, just not good enough? So just it's okay, well, did my best. Daddy Warbucks, I guess I really do have to earn your life. Okay, I'll talk. All right, you want me to talk? What do you want to say? I'm scared about I miss my daddy, and I'm scared about getting a new stepdad, and I want a home, and I want parents who love me, and we're together. I want a we. Are you happy now? Can we be a we now? I'm overstating it. But it is interesting. Their dance about close, separate. We, me, not we. It's really interesting. And it is interesting your comment about stupid songs because the adults sing it. Pre-6, it's all about we, with the focus of the we is parents and all that. Post-6, it becomes more and more peers, and the adult world is the not me in certain ways. It's very interesting. It's necessary, developmental necessary. I mean, it's both at this stage, and later on it's like, forget the parents, just providers, the rest is peers and passions. Why does he have interest in a child?
She's such a sweet child.
What do you say?
The secretary told him that she was such a sweet child.
But he was sort of, a man who was very busy. How did he get the idea that he wants to have a child in his life?
Well, he dropped everything and he spends all the time with the child.
Okay, so once more, therapist directed. Hey, what's in it for Warbucks? Why does he want to adopt this kid? Oh, the secretary, she's really sweet. Whoa, wait, but he's busy, he's making money and all that? I don't know. Hey, maybe he was lonely too. Can't just live for money, you know? In other words, hey, there's another guy over there. He might be worried about do you like him or not, and he wants to connect with you because you can't just live for money and work and all that. So again, this is kind of grandfatherly advice kind of thing. Now, hopefully she's soaking it in. I don't know, she always changes, it seems like she changes the topic a lot. So when he does that, she's like, yeah, well, anyway, let's go over here. Paul.
Do you know what his view specifically was, or just in general, at the time of countertransference, whether it was to eradicate it from, to not do countertransference or actually use it as a...
I don't know specifically his views. It's interesting, there's a scene, I think it's coming up where, she has, she's prepubescent. So there's a scene where she plays with the tape with her feet and kind of moves it in and out. And it is, if you have a primal id associative response. So somebody asked him, apparently, but Rosen told me, about that. Did he have any countertransferential sexualized-ish kinds of feelings? And of course he says, no, absolutely not. I'm like, well, kind of thing. Are you kidding? I'm an old guy. But in any event, obviously we try to be aware of it, and diffuse it. Not, that's an interruption, as they would see, at least back then. I think now they see it more again as shifting. What does that say about them? How do I utilize this? He doesn't, when she moves away, she doesn't acknowledge that a lot. He doesn't say, maybe I'm offending you what I'm saying. You look like you get distant. I would say something, I'm trying to get closer, or help understand, or help you understand things. And sometimes I feel like maybe I'm imposing on you or offending you, and I apologize. And if he could have been aware about the tap dance. You do an amazing job even without tap shoes. Wow. Looks like that's important for you. And yay for you that you embrace your competence and rejoice in it. I think this is the scene. Listen. Tell me, have you ever thought how similar this movie is to E.T.? To E.T. So now you guys are thinking of it. She's thinking. Have you ever thought? She is thinking. Now that is very therapist directed, but I got to tell you, he's going to score big on this. She's going to give a 3-point response. It's beautiful. I never would have thought this. And by the way, I had no idea when he went into this whole thing about whether if she was anywhere, she would keep the dog. I had no idea where he was coming from on that. It was nice. She was very loyal. I would have said, wow, you're very loyal. But sometimes I have no idea. This one I get. I mean, he's thinking. God knows he really wants her to talk, but he is listening to what she's saying and trying to figure out what it means for her and how this is important to her. And I think that's an enormous meta message. To have an old grandfather guy just be focusing on you, even if it's sometimes a little clumsy or rejecting, but he's there and he wants to know what your world is, and he keeps trying. Do you have an idea what the 2-point response or 3-point response is going to be? All right, here we go. You brilliant grad students. Yes.
So because you don't know kids who live without a home. That's what made, most of them success people. Kids who are not
It's interesting how they bind and then kind of unravel a little, but then they rebind. That was beautiful. Yeah, they're both lost. They both want a home. Yes. And you want to know what it's like to feel like you don't have a home and want a mommy and daddy together. Oh, that's beautiful. And then her association, it's interesting, is to stuffed animals. Apparently they had, from a previous session, she was going, oh right, I forgot I was going to bring my stuffed animals. I mean, you can't get more, little kiddish, all home safe with her stuffed animals. Unfortunately, that mommy doesn't hear her, huh? And then it's interesting, you can see, play therapy happens more and more in the mind the older you get. In adulthood, it would be called fantasy. But she's doing so much in her mind. So she kind of goes into her mind and thinking about stuffed animals, playing homes, or whatever. And then she misses what he says, huh? And now they're disconnected again a little. So it's really interesting to watch the delicacy of connection and disconnection. But they stay with it, man, they're there. And he stays with it. And her face is so expressive in a way, even when it's blank. So what can a child do to make a good home come true? Huh?
I don't know, but this got ruined. And I don't know how it got fixed.
And now it got fixed. So the hallmark would be sometimes things get better and we don't even know how. Then's the best part, when they're tap dancing.
When I'm stuck with the day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say.
She takes, what chance does she take?
When I stick up my chin, she's singing about tomorrow. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just think it out loud. Tomorrow, who's away?
So she has hope about tomorrow and takes her chance. She's not sad in the time.
Okay, so he's saying, look, if depression is helpless, hopeless, first of all, you're not helpless. What can you do to get Daddy over? He's trying to help. And secondly, you're not hopeless. The sun will come out tomorrow. It's going to be okay. I mean, and she kind of does a little nod there. So that's cool. It's getting there. It's getting there.
So she takes a chance with Daddy Warlock and he takes a chance with her.
There you go.
Imagine the orphanage people would have told him that she's an unaware child who always runs away. the audience and to each other?
Audience.
Now, there was a marvelous show.
We're not doing anything.
You know what would be a marvelous idea? If you could write a show about what happens to Annie afterwards, later, you know, when that lives with Danny Warbuck, and with his, and who will be the mummy there? Is there a lady who will be the mummy?
Oh yeah, the secretary.
Right, she will be the mummy.
Okay, they're going to do a very interesting game. We got about 10 more minutes. I know it's hard to just keep sitting. I get that, especially when you can't hear very clearly. It's strange. Your amygdala starts to fire. So you saw he summed it all up. You know, Jackie's playing Annie's going to get a new home, convincing Daddy Warbucks that she's all right. And that's beautiful. He's trying to build the prefrontal cortex, the calm, the limbic, and the amygdala. It's all going to be okay. And that's cool. And in some various ways, he's getting to her not. She certainly is free to boss him around. She certainly feels free to ignore him or yawn or push him away, whatever. And it bugs him, obviously, that she hit the thing. You think it's going to help? Yeah, it does. Okay. You pill on this all the time. You know, you're not going to be able to turn it in. No, it's good for it. It's supposed to be done. Okay. So in many ways, he's a very tolerant grandfather in many ways. Yes, please.
Was the client that he was seeing 3 to 4 times a week?
No, I don't know how often he was seeing her. I think it was once a week, actually. But he'd been seeing her for almost a year at this point. Okay. Other thoughts? Yeah, other reactions. Because now they're going to shift gears. It's going to be interesting.
Does it impact their interaction to have that third person? Because at first I thought it was just a video camera sitting there. And
no. It's a person. And she can tell because you can see the lens get bigger.
Yeah.
Yes.
So does that not impact their interaction at all? Or?
I don't think so. I mean, it impacts certainly to the extent that she knows. He told her ahead of time, obviously. We're going to next time meet. We're going to have a camera. We're going to do our thing. He doesn't tell her to bring the tape. That's why it's such a gift. And this is a performance for her. Never mind in front of him and to make sure he does, in a sense, a good job. But for her and the world, you know, the voice didn't exist in those days. Never mind American Idol. So, you know, there is that kind of... And latency, that's very perfect, right? Me, look at me. Never mind, she has perhaps exaggerated needs. Other thoughts? Yes, please.
I work with adolescents, and I don't know if it's because of like the era now, but she just seemed very immature.
Yeah. Well, you're right. This is Ronnie Reagan. I forgot how old this tape is. Ronald Reagan. Oh my God, it's the 80s, early 80s.
So I'm wondering, like, it's just the way teenagers.
12-year-old now. This would be a very young 12-year-old. 12-year-olds now are enormously precocious, overly precocious. Really, innocence gets lost really early. It's sad. Actually. Yeah, she's a very young, but in that era, she's certainly, I mean, she's listening to hip music, and she's not all about parents, the dumb adults singing, you know, it's better when the kids sing, so that's appropriate in that sense. Yes?
And also, a lot of things she's saying is that I want to go back to being a kid.
Yeah.
Like these tights don't fit her too hard.
Yeah.
Like all those little tiny things she's saying.
Yeah.
Subtly, especially when he's addressing something sad or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Like this is too much. Like I want to go back to the beginning.
Yeah, bring the stuffed animals. Be a little kid again. Yeah, that's true. It's hard being a me. I want to be a we again. Yes, please.
I think it was difficult seeing watching him pull her in and out of Magic Mind. She would be in her own world, and then you ask her to have this higher order process. And she was just
yeah.
saw that happen quite a few times.
Correct. And correct.
You just met her right where she was at.
Yes, and she gave him such rich material. That's true, and that's what I mean. A lot of times you ask a question or something, the kid's like, I'm someplace else. Now, I did a couple of times, you know, with the E.T. one. There was one other one. You know, I know why it is you like that movie because you understand what it is to lose a family one. And it's like, yes, you see me, but I think there could be a lot of more bimonic or bi-reciprocal where you're seeing that I'm getting you. Now they are going to play a variation on tic-tac-toe, okay? Way back when there was no final in this class, then you had to do a project, whatever. I thought, if I was going to give a final, it would be humanistic checkers. Especially for guys. So here's humanistic checkers. I mean, if a kid says, hey, let's play checkers, let's play. I say, great, do you want to win? Yeah, okay. Right? I mean, if you're a humanist and it's all about the kid, it's nothing to do. This is just a way of being a we. It's all about you. I'm a mirror with heart. Where do you want me to move? How do you want to set up the world? It's totally up to you. Right? Well, the reality is by the time a kid like latency age, they do want the challenge. It's okay, you want a challenge? Great. Set the meter. Do you want me to play my hardest, best? Do you want me to play kind of medium? Do you want to play really simple? It's up to you. They usually set up between hardest and middle. They want a challenge. Far out. Again, I want to be the cause of age of my existence. I want a challenge. Come on. Fair enough. Where do you want me to move? Just decide. Sounds like you want me to decide. I'll decide. I'm going to move here. Now look at him. And then their eyes start gleaming when they see he wants her to do this a second ending, which would be very nice, but that's not where she's at right now. She wants to play this. When they see that I'm going to get, I'll say, okay, if I move here, it looks like you'll get me. Yes, looks like that's really fun for you to get me. I can well imagine you want to win. It's nice to win in life. Then I'll make a move. I'll say, you know, it's totally up to you. You can move there. If you move there, I'll be able to go 1, 2. It's up to you. Oh, almost universally, it's like, no, I'll change that. Okay. And then they'll do this roundabout, across, around, over the board, whirly bird, bam, gotcha. And of course, my inner primal primate wants to go, you're cheating! That's not fair! But prefrontal kicks in and goes, I see it's so important for you to win that you're finding a very creative way to get my people. That's fine. It's totally up to you. Now, obviously, if you do it out in the world, people go crazy on you and scream, you're cheating, it's not fair, and all that. And he goes, I know. Of course they know. And it's so important to win. Now, it really doesn't feel as good to win when you cheat in that sense, but I don't even bother saying that because I can see. Okay? That's what humanistic checkers is. This isn't this. This is not humanism, right? This is psychodynamic. Again, it's about 10 minutes.
Just a minute. You're not going to play that.
What is that?
You're not going to play that.
No.
You're going to play.
What are we going to say? You're really the master of the whole program.
You're the master of the whole program.
I can't get a word in edgewise.
I can't get a word in edgewise. Maybe a little bit I can talk. Sometimes I think you're listening. You won't give up that talk thing.
No, but it's not the letter. Right?
No, it's not just a design.
Make it right.
Would you say that? We're going to play tic-tac-toe.
Oh, tic-tac. Oh, I see what you did. It's clever. And you have to do it two more.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Tic-tac-toe there on the other side. You have to maybe change some. Take some black out, you know, and put some.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. But you put in all the stuff to do tic-tac-toe. That's how it originally started, you know. And I learned that as a child, we played it that way.
This way?
Yeah.
With these?
Yeah, you could always take one, you know, out and reset it. I'll show you that now. Only 3, you know. Put this on. This is 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Sure, but you need only 3, you know. You're in my game, you know, so you put here.
My game.
That's what you know. That's it. You start out, yeah. You always want 3 in a row. Now what I will do, let's say I play here. There you go. Choice, but I have to go there.
She doesn't look all that enthused.
I can't see, I'm going to destroy it.
I can't see, I'm going to destroy it. Because it's no longer her game.
I said, you know what I can do is just take my text to that he didn't see. So now we go back from the fifth drama where Annie has stopped at home again, but we don't know what's going to happen next, and our audience will have to wait. Now we have a short test whether one of us can win or not.
Test whether one of us can win or not. That's rough, but you could have won. Bam. Now, they're going to play another one. I know we're going to go a little late, but please stay with me. Play with me. They're going to play two more, actually. She was a good loser. She laughed. She was like, okay, we're going to go another one. What trait is she showing? I mean, a lot of different traits, but what's one trait? I'm sorry. Yeah, just in general, how she's approaching this now. Yeah, determination, grit. She lost the game. She's right back at him.
She's like staring at him.
And she's staring at him. It's like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? I mean, that's fantastic what she's doing. And this is broadcast, I suppose, all across LA. Like, I'll take you on, dude. That's fantastic. Talk about Xena, or Cat, whatever her name is. Look at that. Look at that. Spunk. Very good. I won. Huh? Look at him. Where'd you win? She played him in two different ways. This way and that way.
I played too much to win and play good enough to prevent you from winning. Well, shall we play one more?
Shall we play one more? We're not leaving it as a tie.
I will not see you next week.
I will not see you next week. Why? I feel like, Daddy, why won't you see me? Now, there are those who would say, now, in fairness, he told her last week that he is going to go, but there are those who would say that after losing, it might not be the best time to tell her, by the way, I'm not going to be here next week. It's a little bit of, I'm going to take my things back and go. I mean, there are those who believe that maybe some part of her non-conscious, unconscious mind might experience it that way and make that association. I just won, and now you're leaving. And she obviously has feelings about it. Look where she is now. Down here like this? Huh? Why not? Oh, yeah, you told me. He's a toad. I feel like, and he's using them, I feel like Daddy Warbuck. And he repairs it some, but that is an interesting little sequence. All right, one more game. I think it's kind of transference. Going on, feel like Daddy Warbuck, going on business trip. Wondering what's going to happen to you. When I'm far away.
You gonna be alright?
You gonna be alright? What you gonna say? No. I'm doing a J for Jackie. I will assert myself. I exist, even if you're not here. Wait a minute, real quick. Okay, who do you think is going to win? How many think Jackie's going to win? Come on, real quick. Okay, so the rest think he's going to win. Or do you think it's a draw? We'll see. You can put money on this. Actually, it's all right. We have a little in-class bet going. Here we go. $5 on Jackie. Give me 10. Give me 10. Go ahead, 10 on Jackie. Here we go. All right, come on, we gotta go. $6. Right here. 6, right 8. 2-to-1 odds right here.
You didn't want that?
Listen. Tough luck. Tough luck. That's tough luck. Look at, she goes down again. This is not humanistic checkers, man. You want to do that move? Tough luck.
He could have beat her.
Come on, Jackie. Come on. Pull up the spirit, babe. You can do this. There's a new female hero movie. Whatever her name is. Am I going to lose again? I have a wonderful idea, but I won't tell you. I'm playing for keeps here, man. There's an audience watching. He's this renowned. I guess my idea isn't so wonderful. Looks like you didn't fall for my trick. I won. Congratulations, good loser. Okay, she then asks him about when you're leaving, when you come back, blah, blah, blah. What do you think, before we leave, real quick, what do you think? He obviously, that's not humanistic checkers. On the one hand, what's the positive side of that? What's the negative? What do you think? Very different than what I just modeled. I would never in a million years do that.
Definitely builds resiliency for this particular child.
One might, that'd be one assumption. That, hey, it's a real world out there, and you got to tough it out, and people aren't going to indulge you and fluff you, so come on. What part of her brain, oh, go ahead, Paul.
It also makes me think that he maybe was doing that on purpose to see because each of those situations came out, like the boss, she had won.
I think he was really hooked. I think he was really hooked into that. He wanted to win.
Yeah.
I mean, he really wanted to win. I think he was a little embarrassed. It's a little bit, one thing to dance in front of others, another to lose this. Come on.
At the end, he stopped talking also, which
yeah.
Like, it's just odd to be playing with a child and you're doing therapy with them and you're really focused on the game.
Yeah, he wasn't talking.
Right, remember when I said therapist, activity, child? Focus on the child. He really moves into the activity here.
And he got up pretty quick to leave.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I mean, he was a gracious loser. Congratulations. But he goes up and he's probably strategizing at home now, like, next time I'm going to get her. Right. What part of the brain, when you lose, what part of your brain is being evoked, obviously? Amygdala. Fight, flight. And what happens for her? Well, the second time she's in the fight, I'm like, I'm going to get you. But soon enough, you lose a couple and you move into down. That's not your creative mind. That's your compensatory mind. That's not your competent mind. We want to support it. Look, it is a rough world out there. Can't we have one safe and sheltered space in this universe where you really can think, feel, say anything, do about anything? And it's about you. And it's not about winning or losing or anything. It's about your experience as a human being in an I-thou relationship. Can't we have one space, please? You want a bad daddy war box? You want a home, finally, a we-ness? That's what that is. Not that I win or don't win. I mean, I'll play, and if you want me to play hardball, you can change any time.
It's so funny because it's also, the whole thing of Little Orphan Annie is that Daddy Warbucks is trying to, like, I'm an adult, this is what an adult is, and at least I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I never saw the movie or really play. I mean, we all know
that. What he was doing was, like, there's a game that you made, I'm going to come in and take control of it, and then you're going to destroy it, and then now we have to play this very organized game that is...
Right. Well, that's how the thing is all. And the other assumption, I mean, again, the humanistic assumption is when you are valued and validated and all of that, then you do feel competent, and then it does evoke that part, and then you do go stronger to the world and are more resilient that way. Not by constantly being tested. Then you just move into this, again, koala loo. I'm valuable if I tap dance well. If I can beat you at this. If. Therefore, I'm always in the compensatory mind and not the competent mind. Go out to the world and find somewhere a safe and sheltered space where you can be the true you this week. And I'll see you next week. Oh, somebody write a question. Who's writing a question for today? Thank you, whoever's the I. You are the I. Thank you, thank you, thank you.